I think we can probably agree on our vote for the most valuable minor league Oriole being Jackson Holliday.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Freddie Bencosme.
Well, I was thinking about it.
That's my guy.
I was thinking about it. Jackson Holliday was voted as Minor League Baseball's Player of the Year. He is the #1 prospect in baseball, according to MLB Pipeline and Baseball America. He advanced through 4 levels of the minors this year, had an OPS over 940, put himself in a position to potentially make the big league opening day roster next season, which is something that even people with the highest expectations for Jackson Holliday didn't think was possible. And by people, I mean Jackson Holliday, who said that his goal for the year was to make it to AA Bowie. And what he did...
He completed that goal.
He did complete that goal, and then he went to Norfolk and helped them win a championship. So Jackson Holliday, I think, is pretty easily my most valuable minor league Oriole.
Mine too. Yeah. He was, like you said, Baseball America's #1 minor league player of the year. Kind of hard to say he's not the best in the system.
Yeah.
When he gets that kind of recognition. He was unreal this season. It had no less than a 928 OPS anywhere he went within the system, except when he got to AAA, and he had a 796 to end the year, which also is not shabby in any way, shape, or form. The guy is fantastic, and like you said, he could vie for that second base spot for the Orioles this coming year on the opening day roster. So he's put himself in a position that, like you also said, he didn't even believe he'd be in.
Right.
So that guy's the man.
Jackson Holliday, our most valuable minor league Oriole. If we see him and tell him about this, we'll be sure to award him with a crisp high five.
And a birdie.
And a birdie. I don't know what they are. Maybe we could make
We both keep looking at the bobblehead.
Yeah,
like
are we going to give him a bobblehead?
I mean, we could give him like this one. That's a good one.
The hula bird?
Yeah, I like the hula bird.
If you're not following along on Facebook and YouTube, you can't see the great hula bird that we have. Honestly, if you're following along on Facebook and YouTube, you might not be able to see it anyway. But there it is. It looks beautiful as Matt is now holding it up. And maybe this will be our minor league award. Who knows? Those bobbleheads just might be it. Let's go on to another award that feels pretty obvious here, Bones, and that is Manager of the Year. And for that, again, it's kind of a slam dunk. I think it's Buck Britton.
It is Buck Britton.
It is Buck Britton.
There's no way around it.
Managed Norfolk to a championship this year. The Tides went 90-59. They were named Minor League Baseball's Player of the Year. Again, this is something that literally Minor League Baseball already told us what the answer was, and it was the Norfolk Tides.
This is getting real easy. They're just telling us the answers.
Yeah. He coached 6 of the top 7 Orioles prospects, so not to say that Buck Britton didn't have a lot of talent to work with, but he managed that talent incredibly well. This is one of the best seasons that we have ever seen from a team down on the Orioles farm. And, you know, a little bit surprisingly, he was managing a team that was only one of 2 affiliates outside of the DSL to finish the year with a winning record. Roberto Mercado and the Aberdeen Ironbirds also did that. They were slightly above 500, so Mercado would have gotten my second place vote here. But for me, it's pretty clearly Buck Britton.
While I was doing the research for this podcast, I came across a lot of things that I assumed could be records, but I can't prove that they are. And one of those was, I feel like the Orioles have called up more top prospects than anybody else, maybe ever. I mean, like, how many times does a team pull up however many top 100 prospects that the Orioles did? Westburg, Kowser, Kerstad, Ortiz, Rodriguez in one season. So that's all credit to Buck Britton.
Yeah.
Really getting those guys ready for the show. So I give it to Buck as well.
Yeah, and all of those guys really praise Buck Britton. I mean, Britton has been promoted throughout the Orioles minor league system because he has done such a good job at any level that he is at. So Buck Britton, pretty easy choice here for my Manager of the Year. Let's jump to a fun one. I think the rest of the awards that we're going to give out here are not as easily like there's one guy and that's the guy who's going to win it. Let's go to Most Improved Player. I think there are a bunch of candidates here for the Orioles. You're laughing at me as if there's...
Because you've gone to one where we agree.
Tough. Well, for me, the winner is Samuel Basallo.
Me too.
Last year, he was playing rookie ball and had a 774 OPS. This season, he gets all the way up to AA Bowie with a 953 OPS. This is somebody who started as a fringe top 100 prospect because he was an international signing. You didn't really know what the upside really was. There's always kind of a theoretical ceiling when you sign an international prospect that is that young and has just really raw tools. You can look at them and project as high as you want to, but until you really start to see them play minor league baseball, it's hard to say what their realistic ceiling is. And I think Samuel Basallo is a really rare case of somebody that you looked at as an international prospect and said, wow, this guy has such a high ceiling. He has this tool, he has this tool, he has this tool. And then he lived up to all of those things. His bat was better than I think anybody expected this season. His batting average was really the standout. We all knew he had power, but the batting average was outstanding this year. His play behind the plate was outstanding as well. He has a cannon of an arm. He was great at throwing out would-be base stealers. He started as a fringe top 100 prospect at the beginning of the season, entered the list, and we were like, wow, that's really cool. Then he jumped up to the 50th ranked prospect in baseball, and I think by the time the new rankings come out before this season, we could be looking at a top 25 prospect in baseball.
Absolutely. I mean, this guy is potentially, people have been talking about it, he could be the next number one for the Orioles if they try to continue the streak. He's fantastic. And you mentioned his average and his rise from rookie ball all the way up to AA at the end of this past season. But the power numbers are, for me, what I look at and say, wow, this guy is another breed. OPS is fantastic, but his home run numbers are really what fly off the charts for me. 12 home runs in Aberdeen, and then comes up and hits 8, in Delmarva, then to Aberdeen.
Yeah.
He hit 6 out of his last 7 games. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
The guy was just ripping home runs one after the other, and to have another great catcher's prospect in this system is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly a good fold to have to Adley Rutschman. If Adley Rutschman needs an off day behind the plate, we could be looking at Samuel Basallo in a few years as somebody who could fill that role. Others receiving votes for me in that category would have been Alex Pham, who had a 5.66 ERA in Aberdeen last year and tossed a 2.67 ERA in Bowie this year. That's a really impressive jump. And then another one for me that I think would have received votes, when you're looking at most improved, we're talking about from 2022 to 2023. So Dylan Beavers doesn't really fit that category, but he had such a dramatic in-season improvement that I just want to give him a shout out. He hit Dylan. 273 in Aberdeen and improved to 321 when he got promoted to AA Bowie, which is, again, supposed to be harder. And Dylan Beavers, in our conversation with him, literally went, yeah, it's kind of easier. Crazy.
Incredibly kind guy.
Most improved during the season might be Dylan Beavers.